Kieran Shoemark. I'm 16 years of age. I'm from the Cotswold area. I started riding about when I was at the age of 13, just like ponies, etc. Went to a pre-training yard just for a bit of experience to really learn how to ride properly and learn on the breakers really. A man called Dawson Lees, owned by David Thorpe, who has horses in training at the moment. Then after I was back there for a year, then I went on to Richard Phillips, because he's just a local trainer down the road, which I eventually went up the gallops and learnt how to judge pace and rode a bit of work, etc. Got the experience there, and then been lucky enough to have experience at John Gosden's, Mr. Boulding's, and it's all kicked off from there. So I've only really been riding racehorses for about a year, but I've been lucky enough to have a lot of experience within that year. My father was a jump jockey, and my grandfather was a jump jockey, but I've always wanted to be a jockey myself, but they've never really encouraged it from a young age, because they knew it was such a hard game to get into. But obviously up until a year and a half, 2 years ago, they knew it was all I wanted to do, and so they sort of felt they had to encourage it then.
My name is Garrity. I'm 16 years old. I am originally from Yorkshire, but I live down in Kingsclere now, which is Berkshire, because I work full-time for Andrew Bowling. My dad was a professional jump jockey, Russ Garrity, and similar to Kieran, he didn't really encourage me to go into the sport at a young age. He liked me to play football, rugby, cricket, you name it, any other sport to get me away, but once I got into riding, he learnt me on a couple of ponies which had never been ridden before at the age of maybe 13, and once I did that for maybe a year, half a year, he got me riding out for Tim Easterby, where he works. He's a sit-down assistant trainer there, and once I got the basics, he sent me away to David Amira, and had a part-time job there for a year and a half to 2 years, and I got a lot of experience with that, riding work, stalls, breaking in yearlings, things like that, which stand me in good stead to go on further. And I went down to ride for Andrew Balding in summer holidays and Easter holidays, and I just asked if I can come back for a job, and he said he accepted it, so I moved down there.
Jack, Kieran, you're here on the 4-week intensive course at the British Racing School. Obviously you're in your final week here, what have been the main things you've learned from this 4-week course, and how do you think it's aided your improvement, your riding ability, your all-round skills?
It's helped me basically, especially with the horse care side of things, how to treat an horse's illness, its actual health, how do you look for signs of its health and how it's not ill and things like that. Medication, how many times like the area of a box, or how many times it needs to be shoeing in a certain amount of weeks, going racing, bandages, things like that. It's helped me a lot in the horse care side. Even in the riding side, I've put little things that EJ, like on the equisizers, technical side things, which hopefully will stand me in good stead for the future. So it's been good.
Very similar to Jack. We both came here. We could ride. We've ridden out for previous trainers, but I realised there's a lot more to it. Like, I thought I could ride, but stable management itself, like there's a lot more to it. The way you should treat horses, just being a horseman, learning how to be a horseman, just looking for signs if a horse is feeling well or not. Just looking after and it's stable, and just yard work. They do here that it's a lot different to some of the other yards I've worked. Like, you don't tend to use muck sacks in a lot of yards now, but we learn the hard way here. It could be some things could be a bit old-fashioned, but it's very helpful and it strengthens us up, and we learn the hard way and the best way probably.
And a typical day here, obviously it was an early start this morning, which it is every day. You just take us through, step by step, what a normal day here would entail.
In the mornings from Monday to Friday we would start at 6 o'clock. We would go down, tend to muck out depending on how many horses you have, might have one or two, muck out our horses in the morning, then pull out. It varies because there's 3 courses on the group, so we all got to pull out separate times, but we'd pull out and we'd tend to ride for about maybe an hour and a half, come back, and it'd tend to be breakfast time then. We have our breakfast at 8:30 till 9, half an hour. Then after breakfast, we'd go down and tack up another lot, ride again for another hour and a half. Then we'd do yard duties till 12 o'clock, and 12 o'clock's our lunch break. So for lunch we have 2 hours, 12 to 2. Then we go back down at 2, and we tend to have a lecture from 2 to 3. So we have an hour lecture, whether it be in the classroom or on the yard. Then at 3 o'clock we all start mucking out our 1 or 2 horses till 5. So we have 2 hours to do that, and obviously we tend to finish a bit sooner. So it'll be yard duties again, or the sweeping or cleaning stuff and raking, etc. That'd be our Monday to Friday jobs.
And how about the weekend? How do you spend your weekends whilst you've been here?
On a Saturday, you don't have to be down to the yard till about 6:30. You will just ride 1 lot on a Saturday, which basically is from 6:30 for our group, and it's 6:30 about 7:30, just trotting round the school grounds. After that, you'll muck out your box, hay them, etc. Then you just have yard duties till about. We're supposed to be finished at 11 o'clock, but if all yard duties are done by 10:30, sorry, we're allowed to come back up, and then from then onwards you can either go to town, or you can just stay in the common room, relax. Sometimes we even have fitness on a Saturday, just fitness tests, and we have to be back down at the yard for about 3 o'clock on a Saturday till 5. So you've got, like Kieran says, 1 or 2 horses, skip them out, groom them, make sure everything's done properly, and yard duties again.
Is there anyone in particular who's inspired you to pursue a career in racing?
Basically, I've just wanted to follow my father's footsteps. But as I say, at an early age, he didn't encourage me to come into the sport because he just didn't want me to go in. But as the years have gone, I think he must have slackened. But I've just got into it, and he sent me down to Andrew Balding's because it's such a good yard for young people like me, and just so it can stand me in good stead for the future, help me along. But definitely, yeah.
See, and I've always wanted to be a jockey from a young age, and my father and grandfather were jockeys. My father was actually apprenticed to Ian Balding 30 years ago, so he knew obviously it's a great place to start, so he wanted me to go there really. So I obviously go into Andrew Balding's and hopefully stay small enough to stay on the flat, unlike my father.
And within racing, do you both have racing heroes, or someone that you aspire that you could one day be as successful as?
Well, obviously, but I do highly regard Daniel Tudhope as a rider. I treat him with a lot of respect. He's given me a lot of advice, and I just wish him all the best because I think he's such a good rider. So yeah.
My hero is definitely Frank Dettori, William Buick. They're obviously top of their game, and that's who I'd love to be like when I'm older, and I aspire to be like those great jockeys.
Kind of 2-3 years down the line, obviously William Buick was a successful apprentice for Andrew Balding as well. That's obviously where you'd like to be?
Yes, definitely. Because I've ridden out for Mr. Gosden, and William Buick actually really spoke to Andrew Balding and got me really in there for a bit of experience, and I went there for a week's trial, and it's all gone good from there, and I'll go in there and hopefully, if all goes to plan, come out there as a established jockey, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, same. I've gone there to hopefully get my licence out. He's such a good person for young apprentices to carry on at that age, like David Probert and William Buick, champion apprentices, and just hopefully work my way up the ladder to be obviously maybe top first jockey for him, and just be established jockey and make a good living out of it. This is our room. Here we go.
obviously 2 singular beds either side we share, so we're in this room together, and yeah, we got our own space, we got our own desk, drawers, etc. We also have our own ensuite with our shower. Got a toilet and shower in there. Spread it with our own big closet.
Yeah. Mainly I spend most of my time in the corner room, but I do like to have a lot of sleep, so I do sleep a lot in my bed, like dinner times, and I always go to bed earlier than what Kieran does, but it doesn't bother me really.
Yeah, I prefer to stay in the common room a lot longer, and I like to use the gym at lunchtimes. I don't spend much time in my rooms. This is our gym facility. I use this quite regularly. It's a great facility. We've got spinning bikes over here. There's 20 of them, so we have 3 fitness lessons a week with a fitness test. So that's Monday, Wednesday evening and Friday evening. And on a Saturday morning we'll actually have a fitness test, and we'll use either the spinning bikes, we'll go play football maybe as a big group, or
we do circuit training in here. Use things in the cupboards there, which obviously you've got
the weights,
etc.
balance balls.
You got the mats just over in the corner there next to the rowing machines, which obviously you do your exercising on the benches, which help you.
Currently we actually have our we have chairs in here, so we actually have an exam at the moment. We had a maths exam yesterday and an English exam today, so that's why there's chairs and tables in here. But yeah, this is because obviously in racing wanting to be a jockey, it's great. You have to be fit. It's part of the job, and it's a great facility to come and use this in our spare time.
The British Racing School is a charity. It was founded in 1982, and its aim is to provide education and training for the racing industry. The main business of what we do is training young people who primarily are aged 16 to 18, who come here on an apprenticeship, that's a formal government recognised qualification, to work as stable staff initially in a trainer's yard. Of them, some of them will go on to progress as jockeys, and that, for example, includes the current champion jockey, Paul Hannigan. In addition to that, or alongside that, we also run what's called the intensive course, and that is for young people who will have had experience working in a trainer's yard before they come here, and rather than the normal 9 weeks, they only come here for 4 weeks. So the 2 lads you've seen this morning, Kieran and Jack, are on the intensive course. The course here is tough. I mean, there's no getting away from it, but we wouldn't be doing young people any favours if it wasn't that, because we need to prepare them for the reality of working in racing. So it is long hours. We require high standards of them. We require them to behave like decent human beings, because it is important that we develop young people as complete entities rather than just the skills involved in looking after and riding racehorses. So we set high standards, we make no apologies for that, and that's kind of how things are. And it's important that we get that over to young people and they recognise their responsibilities in it as well as our own. The school has all the facilities that you'd expect to have in a trainer's yard, and we try and make the experience here as near to that which they're going to face in a yard. So we have over 70 horses here, retired racehorses, and the regime here is run very much like a trainer's yard. But on top of that, they have fitness sessions, they have lessons in horse care and in their personal standards. So it's a big ask of them, but I hope, as you'll see from the 2 young men you've seen, we set a high criteria for them to reach, and I think it's fantastic that they aspire to that and exceed it in many cases.